pH. You hear it thrown around in gardening and lawn keeping circles. pH is the gatekeeper of your plant's ability to absorb nutrients from the soil. You need to check your soil's pH and adjust it based on the pH requirements of the plant that you're growing. Wow, that sounds like a burden. But it's not. It's not. Naturally, in this area, and then we're talking about not indoor plants, we're talking about growing things outdoor, whether it's landscape or whether it's your lawn or whether it's your vegetable garden, we're naturally acidic. And on the pH scale, when you hit 7, that's neutral. Your lawn wants to be neutral. Okay? Your vegetables, they want to be almost the same. Anywhere from a little acidic, and as the numbers go, the higher the number, the more alkaline the soil is. The lower the number, the more acidic it is. And that your vegetable plants want to be somewhere between 6 and 7.5. So if you hit that in the middle, that's pretty much 7. Your shrubs, like mostly your evergreens like azaleas and rhododendrons and junipers, and most of your landscape plants all want to be in a little more acidic. So they want to be 6, about in that range, 5.5, somewhere in that section. And there are trees too, like dogwoods and Japanese maples. They all want their pH to be lower than that. So the only place where we really need to have an acid pH is in your landscape beds, as opposed to your vegetable garden and your lawn. So you do need to control it. If you don't put down something to control your pH, it'll get lower and lower. And in the opening statement of this segment, what happens is your plants can't absorb the fertilizer that you're putting down because the pH won't allow the plants to basically utilize the fertilizer. So all of a sudden your plants are yellow, you put more fertilizer down, they're yellow, and the problem is you have all this fertilizer that just stays locked up in the soil and the plants can't utilize it because the pH is not correct. So pH is an essential thing for all of your plants. Having it at the correct pH is essential for them to get their most nutrient value from that expensive fertilizer that you're putting down. So what's the deal? Check with your local garden center. See if they do pH testing. And look, we've had this. People bring in little baggies, Ziploc bags, from like hundreds of areas in their lawn. No, don't do that. I can remember, and a gentleman brought it in. Here you go. I went and I took areas from here to there. Make sure it's the soil that you're getting and not a bunch of thatch. And that I went and I took all those little baggies and I put them all together. And he was like, what did you do? We need an average. We don't need each spot because you're not going to apply control products to change the pH in each individual spot. You're going to do it as a general. So if you're taking pH from your lawn, from your landscape, and from your vegetable garden, hey, 3 tests, that's okay. And that you can take them from different areas and combine the soils for, like, say, take 3 test areas from your vegetable garden, put it in the same little baggie, you'll get an average. Same thing with your landscape. So do the 2 or 3 samples from the front, a couple from the sides, and then a couple in the back, put them all together, and you'll find out what your pH is. Now, so what do? It's like, okay, well, my lawn pH says it's about 6. Every year, without fail, you need to put down a product. Now that the old school is lime. It used to be lime, and it was like the dusty lime where it's powder, looks like you're in a cloud of white dust. Those days are gone. Then it was granular lime, where it kind of went through, but it's still, you needed 25 bags to do like a 5,000 square foot lawn. It was ridiculous. Then it became pelletized, and you still needed about half as many bags, but it still was you were lugging crazy bags. At Bloomers, we recommend using what's called a Mag-Cal from Jonathan Green, and it's Mag, M-A-G, an I, and A-C-A-L. So it's Mag-Cal. It's magical, right? But it's really what it stands for is magnesium, iron, and calcium. And those put together are actually controlling your pH. So they're increasing your pH to a neutral level. And based on what your pH is, it'll give you on the bag, it'll say, you only need 5,000 square foot on a 5,000 square foot lawn. Most of the time, that's what you need. It's instead of you need to do 5 50-pound bags of regular lime. So this controls that you get one product, one bag, and it comes in 5 and 5,000 square feet. So, and it even comes in like a little bag that if you want to put it in your garden. Why do I want to put it in my garden? Because if you have low calcium in your garden, and your tomatoes will have blossom end rot. So it also is a curative with that cal portion of the Mag-Cal, because that's the calcium that's being increased. Now you can get blossom end rot on peppers, you can get them on tomatoes, and that will help control it. So I absolutely suggest that you do it, even if you don't know what your pH is in your garden. It will certainly help that way. So instead of using it as something that will control your pH, you're using it as a nutrient value. So what are you going to do? You can go to your county agent, but they give you a printout that says, and people are like, oh my God, I need molybdenum. And relax. It's a micronutrient not used in and that these things come back, and they're scientific reports, and whenever anybody gets back, they come to Bloomers. It's like they're trying to be the mad scientist and get a certain amount of this and a certain amount of that. Don't bother getting that readout. Honestly, for those of you that are like master gardeners, knock yourself out. But honestly, what the most important thing is the pH. Do you have pink hydrangeas and wish they were blue? That's pH. You need to lower that pH so that it's going to be somewhere in the range of a 5, and you can do that with aluminum sulfate. So again, make sure you're getting your pH read. Check with your local garden center. Please call before you go down, and ask them if they do pH testing, because you don't want to waste a trip. But you never know. There's usually somebody there that kind of specializes in it. So make sure you call, get the pH checked in your lawn, and honestly, really all you need is your lawn and your garden. Your landscape you want to use holly tone on your landscape plants. If your hydrangeas are pink, you're going to want to turn them blue. You're going to use aluminum sulfate. But most of the fertilizers are going to lower that pH, okay? And that it will also feed your plants. And then, I always think it is like the pH is holding back, the nutrients and holding back the fertilizer from working. And then once you get your pH, it opens the gates for the fertilizer to work. So make sure you get your pH checked. And don't bring 100 baggies. Just do a sample throughout that one area and put it into one bag, and just help the folks out where they're only going to do a certain amount of tests, because it does take a while. But you want an average. You don't want to know what each baggie is, because do you remember where you got that sample? I bet you don't. So you really only need an average, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to treat it. Mag-Cal for lawns, Mag-Cal for vegetable gardens, Holly Tone, Espoma Holly Tone for your landscape. Drop the mic.